On Tuesday, you guys read the story Thank You, Ma'am by Langston Hughes, and you annotated and answered questions about words of the wiser, internal and external conflict. Today, we're going to annotate together. So you should have your copy of Thank You, Ma'am pulled up, and you're going to annotate and highlight with me. So we're going to be looking at the different parts of the plot diagram today. So what I want you to do is have your finger ready to highlight and type as we go along. We're looking for the exposition, which remember, we're introduced to the characters and the setting. We are looking for the rising action, what's the conflict and how it builds. Then we're looking for the climax, the most exciting part, the turning point of the story. Then the falling action, how the character begins solving the conflict. And then the resolution, how does the story end? So let's get started. We're going to read it together, follow along, but when I stop and highlight, I want you to do that as well, and then I want you to comment. Thank You, Ma'am by Langston Hughes. She was a large woman with a large purse that had everything in it but hammer and nails. It had a long strap, and she carried it slung across her shoulder. It was about 11 o'clock at night, and she was walking alone when a boy ran up behind her and tried to snatch her purse. Wow, okay, I'm going to stop there. I've got a lot here. I'm going to take this whole area, and I'm going to highlight it. You can choose a color and highlight with me. I'm going to do blue. And then I'm going over to press the comment button because I think I just found my exposition. So I'm going to put characters. We can put woman or large woman and a boy. Now setting, I think I also know where it takes place. It says it's at night, about 11 o'clock, and she's walking alone. So I'm going to put 11 o'clock p.m. outside. I'm assuming it's on a sidewalk, but we don't really know. And so click comment. I want you to do this with me. Let's keep going. Okay, the boy ran up behind her and snatched her purse. The strap broke with a single tug the boy gave it from behind. But the boy's weight and the weight of the purse combined caused him to lose his balance. So instead of taking off full blast as he had hoped, the boy fell on his back on the sidewalk. Oh, so they are on a sidewalk. And his legs flew up. The large woman simply turned around and kicked him right square in his blue-jeaned sitter. Then she reached down, picked the boy up by his shirt front, and shook him until his teeth rattled. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I have definitely seen the conflict here. When the boy ran up behind her, snatched her purse, then she turned around and did what we wouldn't expect, but she kicked him and took her purse back. So I'm going to highlight that in a different color. I'm going to do the conflict in yellow right there. And then I'm going to add another comment right here, and I'm going to put external conflict. Character versus character. And I'm going to click comment. I want you to do the exact same thing. Yes, you can type my same annotations. If I'm going too fast, you can pause this video. Let's keep going now. So we're looking for the rising action. Well, we know he took her pocketbook. She threw him down on the ground. After that, the woman said, "Pick up my pocketbook, boy, and give it here." She still held him, but she bent down enough to permit him to stoop and pick up her purse. Then she said, "Now ain't you ashamed of yourself?" Firmly gripped by his shirt front, the boy said, "Yes'm." The woman said, "What'd you do it for?" The boy said, "I didn't aim to." She said, "You a lie." By that time, 2 or 3 people passed, stopped, turned to look, and some stood watching. "If I turn you loose, will you run?" asked the woman. "Yes'm," said the boy. Then I won't turn you loose, she said. She did not release him. I'm very sorry, lady, I'm sorry, whispered the boy. Ahem, and your face is dirty. I got a great mind to wash your face for you. Ain't you got nobody home to tell you to wash your face? No, ma'am, said the boy. Then it will get washed this evening, said the large woman, starting up the street, dragging the frightened boy behind her. Okay, I'm going to stop because I see several different things that, they're having a conversation. She's asking him, if I let you go, will you run? And he's being honest and saying, yes, ma'am. And then she says, I've got a great mind to take you home and wash your face. So I'm going to put right here, highlight that. That's part of my rising action, which I'll do rising action in orange. And I'm going to comment right here and just kind of put a number 1. She fusses at him and says that she is going to wash his face. Comment. Let's keep going. Then it will get washed this evening, said the large woman, starting up the street, dragging the frightened boy behind her. He looked as if he were 14 or 15, frail and willow-wild in tennis shoes and blue jeans. Okay, I'm going to stop there and highlight this sentence. And I'm going to do it orange again because it's still my rising action. And I'm just going to put a number 2 and say she decides to take him home. Comment. The woman said, you ought to be my son. I would teach you right from wrong. Least I can do right now is to wash your face. Are you hungry? No, ma'am, said the boy, being dragged. I just want you to turn me loose. Was I bothering you when I turned that corner? Asked the woman. No, ma'am. But you put yourself in contact with me, said the woman. If you think that contact is not going to last a while, you got another thought coming. When I get through with you, sir, you are going to remember Mrs. Luella Bates Washington Jones. Okay, we now know her name as the character, so if you wanted to go back and put it right here, you could, but we won't to save time. Sweat popped out on the boy's face, and he began to struggle. Mrs. Jones stopped, jerked him around in front of her, put a half Nelson about his neck, and continued to drag him up the street. When she got to her door, she dragged the boy inside, down a hall, and into a large kitchenette, furnished room at the rear of the house. She switched on the light and left the door open. The boy could hear other roomers laughing and talking in the large house. Some of their doors were open too, so he knew he and the woman were not alone. The woman still had him by the neck in the middle of her room. Okay, if I stop there and think about it, it sounds like she's sharing maybe a house with other people. So he probably knows he's safe. He's not scared. But I'm going to highlight kind of this area as more of the rising action. So I'm going to do it in orange still. And I'll put number 3. She gets him home and takes him to the kitchen. Comment. So make sure you type that. And this kind of tells me at this point that I feel like she's not a bad person. Like she's not trying to kidnap him. She's asked him if he's hungry. Now she's taking him inside. She said she's going to wash his face. Took him to the kitchen. She said, "What is your name?" "Roger," answered the boy. So now we know his name. "Then, Roger, you go to that sink and wash your face," said the woman, whereupon she turned him loose at last. Roger looked at the door, looked at the woman, looked at the door, and went to the sink. So could that possibly be the turning point in the story? I definitely think it could be. So if you wanted to put that as the climax, there's kind of another little area, the climax too, that I think. So let's keep going. But if you wanted to stop and put that, because he has a chance to run, but he doesn't. "Let their water run until it gets warm," she said. "Here's a clean towel." "You going to take me to jail?" asked the boy, bending over the sink. "Not with that face. I would not take you nowhere, said the woman. Here I am trying to get home to cook me a bite to eat, and you snatch my pocketbook. Maybe you ain't been to your supper either, late as it be, have you? There's nobody at my house, said the boy. Then we'll eat, said the woman. I believe you're hungry, or been hungry. Try to snatch my purse. I wanted a pair of blue suede shoes, said the boy. Well, you didn't have to snatch my pocketbook to get some suede shoes, said Mrs. Luella Bates Washington Jones. You could have asked me. Ma'am? So I'm going to stop here. It tells me that he has manners. He knows better because he's calling her ma'am. The water dripping from his face, the boy looked at her. There was a long pause, a very long pause. After he had dried his face and not knowing what else to do, dried it again. The boy turned around, wondering what next. The door was open. He could make a dash for it down the hall. He could run. The woman was sitting on the daybed. After a while, she said, I were young once, and I wanted things I could not get. There was another long pause. The boy's mouth opened. Then he frowned, but not knowing that he frowned. So if I stop there and think about it, he's kind of thinking about what she's telling him. These are some words of wisdom that she's giving him. The young woman said, you thought I was going to say, but didn't you? You thought I was going to say, but I didn't snatch people's pocketbooks. Well, I wasn't going to say that. Pause. Silence. I've done things too, which I would not tell you, son, neither tell God, if he didn't already know. So you sit down while I fix us something to eat. You might run that comb through your hair so you will look presentable. In another corner of the room, behind a screen, was a gas plate and an icebox. Mrs. Jones got up and went behind the screen. The woman did not watch the boy to see if he was going to run now, nor did she watch her purse, which she left behind her on the daybed. But the boy took care to sit on the far side of the room where he thought she could easily see him out of the corner of the other eye, if she wanted to. He did not trust the woman not to trust him, and he did not want to be mistrusted now. Do you need something to go to the store? Asked the boy. To go to the store, asked the boy. Maybe to get some milk or something? Don't believe I do, said the woman, unless you just want sweet milk yourself. I was going to make cocoa out of this canned milk I got here. That will be fine, said the boy. She heated some lima beans and ham she had in the icebox, made the cocoa, and set the table. The woman did not ask the boy anything about where he lived, or his folks, or anything else that would embarrass him. Instead, as they ate, she told him about her job in a hotel beauty shop that stayed open late, but what the work was like, and how all kinds of women came in and out, blondes, redheads, and Spanish. Then she cut him a half of her 10-cent cake. Eat some more, son, she said. When they were finished eating, she got up and said, Now here, take this $10 and buy yourself some blue suede shoes. Okay, I'm going to stop there because, whoa, wait a minute. All of a sudden, the story's taking a change. She's giving him money. So I'm going to kind of put right here. Whoops. I'm going to highlight that. And I think this is an example of, let's do it in pink, the climax here. She gives the boy money. Now the story's starting to change because he had a big problem. He didn't have any money. Of course, the problem wasn't that huge because he wanted suede shoes. It wasn't like he was starving and needed something to eat. But anyway, so let's see how the problem is solved now. The next time, do not make the mistake of latching onto my pocketbook, nor nobody else's, because shoes come by be devilish like that will burn your feet. I gotta get my rest now, but I wish you would behave yourself, son, from here on in. She led him down the hall to the front door and opened it. Good night. Behave yourself, boy, she said, looking out into the street. Okay, so she gave him money. She gives him some words of wisdom and says that basically if you steal something, you're going to get yourself in trouble. And then she leads him to the door. So this is kind of like the falling action. Oh, I didn't do it a color, did I? It doesn't matter. We'll leave it there. She lets the boy leave. And let's look at the end. The boy wanted to say something else other than, "Thank you, ma'am," to Mrs. Luella Bates Washington Jones. But he couldn't do so as he turned at the barren stoop and looked back at the large woman in the door. He barely managed to say, "Thank you," before she shut the door, and he never saw her again. So the resolution, he didn't even get to say ma'am, but he got to say thank you. Whoops. So I'm going to put a highlight color in green, and it didn't do it green. So let's try it again. And I'm going to comment here. The boy leaves with $10, but he also has learned a very important lesson. She's taught him it's better to earn your money the hard way than to steal, than to take advantage of others. And she also taught him that it's a good thing to help others when they are in need. Okay, so you've now done your annotations, hopefully with mine. So now you have the answers for the plot map that you are going to do. I want you to click on the next slide, and you're going to open a copy of the plot map, and then you'll take this information and you will plug it into the parts of the plot map.